Let's talk a little bit about the Matt Gaetz scandal. The Matt Gaetz scandal broke while we were on vacation last week. Republican Congressman Matt Gaetz is under investigation for a whole bunch of things, including possible child sex trafficking. Matt Gaetz, after word of this investigation came out, appeared on Fox News with Tucker Carlson last week, I guess to plead his innocence, but he ended up actually sort of further incriminating himself, even at one point saying to Tucker, don't you remember you went to dinner with me and a girl I was with? And Tucker claimed, I don't know what you're talking about. I mean, you couldn't script a more bizarre story. And now we are starting to get into the phase of how serious could the crimes Matt Gaetz may be accused of be when it comes to consequences? Well, Dave Ehrenberg, who's a state attorney for Palm Beach County, Florida, was on MSNBC yesterday explaining that child sex trafficking, one of the possible crimes Gaetz could be charged with, it can come with a penalty of life in prison. Take a look at this video.
Legal liability that Gaetz is facing here. We just ran through quite a few very distasteful things. Which of them may end up being crimes that Matt Gaetz could be charged with?
Well, good morning, Casey. The most serious crime is child sex trafficking, which is punishable by up to life in prison. And there is a 10-year mandatory minimum. And the more information that comes out, the fewer defenses Matt seems to have left, because Joel Greenberg, the former tax collector of Seminole County, is being charged with child sex trafficking over the same 17-year-old girl at issue.
So the point here is not for me to tell you, ooh, Matt Gaetz might end up in prison for life. I'm not telling you I believe Matt Gaetz is going to end up with life in prison. The point here is that what Matt Gaetz is wrapped up in could come with a sentence of life in prison. Now, Matt Gaetz is a privileged member of Congress, one of 435. He will get top-notch defense attorneys. There's no way in hell that Matt Gaetz at the tail end of this ends up with life in prison. But the point is, a normal person might be at risk of life in prison based on what Matt Gaetz is being investigated for doing. Meanwhile, every time Matt Gaetz tries to explain why he's not guilty of anything, he seems to raise more questions and further incriminate himself. In the Tucker Carlson interview last week, Gaetz said, I've never paid anyone for sex. And at that time, that wasn't even part of the known investigation, right? Gaetz bringing new elements into presenting derogatory evidence about himself during interviews. Further, Matt Gaetz said, just look at my congressional travel records. They're going to exonerate me. Now, when Matt Gaetz refers to his congressional travel records, by definition, his congressional travel records would only refer to his official travel. The disclosures that Gaetz filed with the House Ethics Committee and the Federal Election Commission regarding his official trips don't include the stuff that he was talking about on Fox News. On Fox News, he said, check the records, we're going to provide them. They provided them, but it's only his official travel. The documents that Gaetz put out don't include who traveled with Gaetz on a personal basis on the trips. They don't include what payments did Gaetz make for other people to travel with him personally, not as part of his official congressional travel reservations. And there's all sorts of trips that he made to Las Vegas, to Yale University, where anybody could have gone with him and he might have paid for it personally. It wouldn't show up in congressional travel records. We would have no idea about it. So again, by raising the issue of travel records, he raises more questions about his personal travel spending, who he paid for trips for, did they cross state lines, how old were they, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Then Gaetz claims he's being extorted over supposedly bogus, fraudulent investigations by the FBI. That was his claim. His dad is being extorted. He's being extorted. Okay. That puts the spotlight on the investigations. And we realize, hold on a second, these investigations are more serious and far more broad ranging than we initially thought. Matt Gaetz might have done even more bad stuff than what we initially believed. So the more we learn, every time Gaetz tries to assert his innocence, the worse it gets and the worse we suspect his actions of actually being. Now, of course, he's innocent until proven guilty. There's no question about that. You know, every time we talk about stories like this, I'll get emails from right wingers saying, do you not believe in innocent until proven guilty? Yeah, we do. We're reporting on allegations. We report on allegations when they're against Democrats and people on the left. We're talking about what the investigation is looking at. We're talking about how every time he opens his mouth, he seems more guilty. Of course, you are innocent. Strictly speaking, you're innocent until proven guilty. There's no doubt. And he deserves a lawyer and a defense and all of that stuff. Then you add to this that Gaetz was the only vote in the House of Representatives against an anti-human trafficking bill in 2017. That takes on a whole new meaning and dimension based on what he's now accused of. We've now learned that when Matt Gaetz was in the Florida legislature, before he was in the U.S. House of Representatives, Gaetz opposed a bill meant to stop people from sharing what we call revenge porn, which is sexually explicit images of ex relationships, because Gaetz believed if you have those images from when you were in the relationship, those are yours to share. That takes on a whole new meaning in light of the allegations about Gaetz sharing pictures with other members of the House of Representatives on the House floor. This is the guy that wears his membership in the supposed party of family values on his sleeve. And this is the reality that he's actually living. I would love to see all of this come crashing down. We have a poll that you can vote in asking, what do you think will be the eventual outcome of the Matt Gaetz scandal? It's on our YouTube community tab. Go to youtube.com/The David Pakman Show. Click on community. You can vote in the poll. We'll have results later this week. And of course, we will publish those results to our Instagram, which you can find at David Pakman Show. And if you want to see the vacation picture I posted that cost me 100 followers, which isn't that much actually, but okay, I'm trying to be hyperbolic here. The picture that cost me 100 followers, follow me on Instagram at david.pakman. One of our sponsors is privacy.com. They're giving you $5 when you sign up for their completely free service at privacy.com/Pakman. I've been using Privacy for a little over a year now. You've heard me talk about it before. It's a lifesaver, and here's how it works. Takes just a couple of minutes to set up. Anytime you buy something online or on the phone, instead of actually using your real credit card number, the Privacy app and the browser plugin let you give each company a randomized virtual credit card number that you create out of thin air. It'll even autofill the card number with one click. And the payment is taken out of your checking account without the merchant ever knowing your real information. So this allows you to keep your banking information secure, but also to take control of your finances. You can create up to 12 of these virtual credit cards a month. You can set spending limits. You can freeze them. You can delete them anytime you want. So when you do this, it means you're not going to be charged when you don't want to be, because you can destroy the virtual card number right after using it, which, for instance, I love using free trials because I know I won't be charged when the trial is over if I use a virtual credit card number. You're keeping your identity private by not telling companies who you are. You're keeping your bank or credit card info protected against data breaches and identity theft, and it's free. And like I said, you'll get $5 to spend when you sign up at privacy.com/Pakman.